When most of us think about Italian food, we think about pasta, pizza, risotto. These are all very famous categories of Italian food that are known globally. Everybody's at least somewhat familiar with them. There's another category of Italian food, though, that here is almost just as ubiquitous. You'll find it everywhere from the north to the south. Everybody eats it. Tons of restaurant menus carry it. In fact, you could argue that it's kind of one of the basic foods of Italian cuisine, and yet you don't see a lot of people outside of Italy talking about it or cooking it. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Maybe it's because the dish doesn't really look like very much just from its appearances, or maybe because in theory it's similar to other foods from other cultures, so it's maybe not quite as unique as something like pizza. But let me tell you, if you try it, you'll understand why all Italians eat it. That food is the humble cotoletta. Cotoletta just means cutlet, but what it specifically refers to in this case is some kind of very thin meat cutlet that is breaded and cooked. Like I said, you'll find them all throughout Italy, but that doesn't mean they're all the same. Today, Ava's here to share 3 different regional recipes, 3 different cotoletta techniques, covering the beginner basic to the extravagant special treat.
Today for our dishes, I'm going to use a very thin slice of beef meat. Keep in mind that to make your cutlet, actually you can use whatever meat you like. You can use beef, you can use veal, you can use chicken, you can use turkey, you can use pork. The first one that we are going to do is the Milanese style. And for example, in Milan, the traditional one is made with veal, a cut of veal that has also the bone. But this technique, as I said, it can work with every kind of meat you want. As you can see, this is a very big piece of meat. You can cook this as it is, but in my case, I'm going to cut it in half. Another thing that I'm going to do is just to cut a little bit the edges of the meat, so we avoid when we will cook it that it will, how do you say, close?
Kind of shrink and warp and yeah.
Yes. The other thing that I'm going to do is tenderize.
Tenderize?
Yes, the meat a little bit. And because I learned that you don't say a certain verb when you do this, how do you say battere la carne? Beat the meat? I just show you. Before we cook the meat, we need to butter it, which means we are going to use eggs and breadcrumbs. Here I'm using just plain breadcrumbs, which means a bread that was still and grated. There are no flavor, there are no garlic, black pepper, nothing, just breadcrumb. If you want, you can use also panko, it works very well. But avoid all the things that is Italian breadcrumb
Italian
seasoning.
seasoning and yeah.
Avoid. Because this recipe is from the north of Italy, is from Milan, they choose to fry with butter. But in this case, I'm going to use clarified butter, which is much better when you fry the things. And it's much better because this is it has a high smoky point than the normal butter.
And I think that that's the same as ghee.
It is the same.
Yeah,
Ghee
yeah.
is clarified butter. And now the only thing that we need to do is fry the cutlet until it's golden and browned on both sides. For a lot of fried food, we wait to salt it until it's done. And this is the case also for the cutlet. So we are going to put a little bit of salt on top. And our cotoletta alla Milanese is ready to be enjoyed.
Okay, so like you said, this is the style of cutlet that they would do in Milan, but it's also, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like if you tell an Italian, I'm gonna eat a cotoletta, this is what they think
we
of.
have in mind. Absolutely, yes.
You find it all throughout Italy. It can be like almost like kind of fast food versions in like gas stations or on restaurant menus.
For kids, for example,
Yeah.
on a menu for kids, there is always a
Always,
cotoletta,
yeah.
because how can you not like a cotoletta?
Yeah, but it's also one of those things, it's kind of like fried chicken. It's like there's the store-bought version and then there's the homemade that is just
Tomato is much better.
always better, shall we?
Hey, we should. We should also, because it's one of the things that to enjoy, you need to eat warm.
Yes.
This doesn't mean
Although, I think we're thinking the same thing.
This doesn't mean that also cold is not good. Because one of my favorite sandwiches is actually panino with a cutlet. So a panino sandwich with inside just a cutlet and
Yeah, if you have leftover cotoletta, make a cotoletta sandwich. It's amazing.
Put in the panino because it's amazing.
To enjoy by itself, definitely better hot and fresh.
Buon
Buon
appetito.
appetito.
There is nothing that you can't like about a cotoletta.
Always good, very easy to make, very difficult to mess up, which I think is why it's like something that you can always like safely order no matter where you are. Like, oh, I'll have the cutlet.
It's always very good. As I said, there's a taste that pleases everyone.
Yeah, it's just
It's
good.
really different. It's really difficult to find someone who doesn't like a cotoletta. Maybe there is someone who prefer, I don't know, like the beef version, veal version, pork version, but every cotoletta is good.
And like you said, you can do it with any kind of meat you want.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you know that this is actually very similar to a traditional American dish?
Which is?
Chicken fried steak, which is actually not made out of chicken. It's like a very thin beef steak that you batter and then fry, and it's called chicken fried steak because it's kind of battered and fried in the same way that you would batter and fry fried chicken, if that makes sense. Now, the only thing about this cutlet is that obviously it's fried. A lot of people are scared of frying. Are there any cutlets that don't involve frying in clarified butter?
Yes, we have, but we need to leave the north and take a trip to the south, in the deep south of Italy.
But first, a quick word about today's video sponsor. Father's Day is almost here, and I've been thinking a lot about my dad and all the many amazing memories I've shared with him over the years. From my childhood, growing up, from my adult life where we both live here in Italy. Those memories are one of the best gifts that we can give to loved ones. One of the best ways to do so is with an Aura digital picture frame. Aura frames are incredible. Ava and I have owned several of our own for years now. They're digital picture frames that you can load any and all photos and videos you want. In fact, they even come with unlimited storage. They look amazing. People see them and they don't even realize that it's digital at first. They think it's just a normal picture frame until the picture swipes over and changes. But it's super cool because you can shuffle through your photos, and so every time you walk by, you're reminded of a new fond memory. They make incredible, thoughtful gifts because not only are you giving someone this really cool picture frame, but before it even arrives to them, you can digitally preload it with all the photos you want. We sent my dad an Aura frame, preloaded with photos from good times we've had with him. If you're looking for a really meaningful, unique gift, then we highly recommend checking out Aura. Named #1 by Wirecutter, you can save now by visiting auraframes.com. For a limited time, viewers can get $35 off their best-selling Carver Mat frame with code PASTA. That's auraframes.com, promo code PASTA. Support the channel by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. A big thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video and for keeping those special memories alive.
As I said before, we left Milan and we are going down to the south of Italy, which means Palermo. And this is the Sicilian version, the Palermo version of the cutlet. That is a little bit more simple from a side, but a little bit more complicated from another side. We start with the breadcrumb. While in the Milanese one, we use the normal plain breadcrumb, in the Palermo style, we are going to use fresh breadcrumb and we are going to season it with pecorino cheese, parsley, mint, and garlic. You don't need to measure anything, you just do by eye. So, how much cheese, how much you like.
Ooh, that mint smells good.
I know.
That is powerful.
It's my fresh mint, the fresh mint that I have on my balcony, finally. The Palermo style doesn't require egg. What requires is a little bit of olive oil, which means that we're going to brush the meat with olive oil and then we're going to put into the breadcrumb. We are going to pour a little bit of olive oil into a pan. So we heat a little bit the olive oil, medium or low heat. You can choose between this technique or just to grill it on a grill.
That smells so good. That smells so good. Yeah.
The mint,
the
play
cheese.
a very good role here. We finish our Palermo style cutlet with a little bit of salt and a little bit of lemon zest.
Now, I've never had this one before. When you cook the Milanese, which I'm very familiar with, I thought, oh, it smells so good in here, which it did. But this is on a slightly different level.
There is the mint, there is the garlic, the cheese, the parsley, then the lemon zest. The breadcrumb is a little bit more seasoned here, in the right way, not in a bad way. Now, the difference between this cotoletta and cotoletta alla Milanese, as we saw, there are several. We have the fact that the breadcrumb here is seasoned, while the other is just plain. The other one is fried. This actually is not fried. As I said before, you can choose also to grill on the grill or also cook in the oven. Important is that, and it seems strange, you don't fry this. That is the only rule.
Well, deep fry.
See, deep fry.
It's technically fried if you cook it in olive oil.
Yes, but for us, frying means deep fry.
You know what we mean.
So, we need to try.
I'm very excited. If this tastes half as good as it smells, buon appetito. Okay.
Don't say nothing bad against cotoletta alla Milanese.
It's hard not to. Okay, no, cotoletta alla Milanese is fantastic. Up until about 10 seconds ago, I could do nothing but rave about it. In this very moment, though, I'm wondering why this is not as common throughout Italy.
Actually, I don't know.
It really should be. It's so absolutely delicious. You know, the lemon zest gives it this fresh tanginess, just a hint of sort of sweetness from the mint, but then also just sort of cheesy and...
That's a very good cotoletta. Also, with this, you can actually put in a sandwich.
In this case, I almost think that would be a shame though, because it's so good that you shouldn't have leftovers of this.
Cotoletta alla Milanese is 10 out of 10. Cotoletta alla Palermitana is 20 out of 10.
That's a good way of putting it.
You can take a very, lean and not flavorful chicken breast, and with this technique, turn the chicken breast into something amazing.
Try this. It's so easy. So easy. You know, most of the ingredients are like...
Things that you can find in your house without any trouble.
Probably ton of people watching right now could go make this right now.
Maybe the only thing difficult that you can find is the breadcrumb.
I did want to bring up the breadcrumbs because we sort of skipped over it because we do tend to talk about fresh breadcrumbs a lot. But in case anyone doesn't know, when Ava says fresh breadcrumbs, what she means are, as opposed to like normal breadcrumbs, which are basically like bone dry, fresh breadcrumbs are where you take bread that's like 2 or 3 days old. So it's kind of getting stale, but it's still a little bit soft, and you grate that into breadcrumbs. And so they're softer, they're not as dry. And I think for something like this where you're tending to cook it in either a relatively dry pan or even just straight grilling it.
You need something more, with more water, more...
Yeah, the dry breadcrumbs would just kind of
shape.
burn immediately. Yeah, just adding a few simple ingredients just takes things to a whole new level.
Speaking of adding some few ingredients and take some basic dishes to another level, we missed the last one, another cutlet style.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
What we are going to do now is cotoletta alla Bolognese or cotoletta petroniana, which means cotoletta Bologna style. At the beginning, this cotoletta will resemble the Milanese because we'll use the egg, the plain breadcrumb is fried in butter, but at some point it will change. Now I need to transfer the fried cotoletta into a different pan. We're going to salt it a little bit because we didn't before. We're going to cover our cotoletta with one of the most amazing and traditional products from Emilia-Romagna, which is prosciutto di Parma. And we are going to use another amazing product from Emilia-Romagna, maybe the most famous in all the world, which is Parmigiano Reggiano. I'm using the grated Parmigiano Reggiano. You can use also the, how do you say, scaglie?
Shaved.
Shaved Parmigiano Reggiano. Now we are going to steam the cotoletta in order the cheese to melt. And to do this, I'm going to use a little bit of vegetable broth that I did this morning. You can use also beef broth. You transfer a little bit of broth and you close the cotoletta. We steam it just 2 minutes, 3 minutes until the cheese is completely melted.
Well, they don't call it fat bologna for nothing.
No, there is a reason why.
Let's take a fried meat cutlet and add prosciutto and parmigiano.
Because they have a prosciutto and parmigiano, so why not?
We've talked about this dish on the channel before because one sort of theory, pet theory that I have, is that maybe something like this was the inspiration for the chicken parm that became popular in America.
See, I can see the thing.
You know,
too.
you switch this to chicken, you have the idea of like adding things on top of a cutlet.
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe.
Could be.
So, being a cheesy dish, we need to eat it now.
We should.
Because otherwise, be sure that you take the perfect bite.
That has a little bit of everything on it. Buon appetito.
Now we're talking about something.
That is very bologna.
That is. That bite is, yes, it's like if you imagine bologna in a bite, is this.
That is unsurprisingly, out of all three, the most like decadent, sinful, delicious version.
That's the best.
The classic Milanese one is like, that's like the basic, right?
It's amazing by itself.
The Palermitana is the one that probably I would want to eat most often as sort of just like a regular meal, you know?
But when there is a celebration and you really want something that makes you feel happy and good, you go for the Bologna version. You go for the Bologna version because, guys, it's amazing. You have the fried cotoletta and plus the prosciutto and plus the parmigiano. And you can also actually exaggerate with the parmigiano because, let's be honest, more you have, better it is. This cotoletta is more than amazing.
I don't know why, out of all the classic Italian foods, cotoletta is probably just one of the most underappreciated outside of Italy.
I don't know, maybe because people, they don't do in a proper way at home.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's like, it's right up there with like pizza and pasta. Like it's one of the most classic Italian foods.
See, it's like when there is a celebration, most of the time what you have served is cotoletta.
Kids, adults, everybody eats cotoletta.
Everyone likes cotoletta.
Well, hopefully this video at least introduces a few people who have never thought to try cotoletta.
To try and actually appreciate and enjoy. Because I'm enjoying it.
I am too.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this look at what we think is a very underappreciated category of Italian food. If you try making any of these cotolette, tag us in a picture on Instagram or Facebook at Pastagrammar, or if you come join our Patreon community, you can send it to us there. Like this Pastagrammarian who made one of our favorite vegetable dishes.
Scarola imbuttunata, which means escarole stuffed with breadcrumb, raisin, pine nuts, anchovies.
Nadia even said exactly what our observations about the dish were, which is that it looks really weird and it seems strange, but then when you try it, it's just amazing.
Life-changing. It's a life-changing.
If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao.